There are several scientific research made by guys like Apple, NAC, Microsoft, and New York Times. They tell us second monitor gives around 20% productivity boost. Means you work faster and better. Think of a display area as a desk when you need to do your homework. You need a textbook to copy from, you obviously need a space for notebook, you need a pencil holder and other stuff like eraser to be somewhere around you. You may need additional literature like dictionary or references. Working with one display is like doing homework on your laps, switching textbook and writebook all the time. But let me tell you my story. Back in 2008, my boss gave me that small square monitor. I've connected to my laptop, and by the end of the day I knew I will never be able to work on a single display anymore. Since then I have progressed. To this. So for the past 3 years I work with 5 monitors. Here is the brief explanation of the layout I have developed so far. I have 2 primary displays that work actually as one central primary area where my primary focus is. And I have 2 secondary helping displays to the right, and I have rotated left side monitor for utilities, communications and special tasks. So now I'm going to show you how I do my daily work with this setup. Usual everyday programming. I work with the code in front of me. I have development server above, still in front of my eyes, and I see background script outputs and logs in the console by the right hand. So when I click on the page, I see reaction on the server. When something has significant delay, like 2 seconds, I just see it with my eyes. I open help, I Google, check Stack Overflow, and I have it side by side with my code. I can open another code, another class, and drag it to the top. Database is to the right. I keep it open and I see real database record examples when I code. So at the end of the day, I have a better feeling of the application. More things fits into my head at the same time. Database, web page, server-side scripts, and it all matches the code in front of me all the time. And I have these tiny situations like, oh, what was that field name? What was that warning line number? I always know. I just need to move my eyes. In fraction of a second I will know exactly what was that. This not just saves time but also reduces stress, because I don't worry too much about overlooking things. Debugging the code is kind of painless. Here is a tough example. I have a page that makes calls to the server, to the background script, that processes requests and pushes it back to the page. So when I click on a button on a page, script stops on a breakpoint. I see what script writes into log. I see page reaction like timeout now. I step over script lines, see the output in a console, see variables here, how they change. I can use the back console, and the code is still in front of me all the time. So I step over and see the output again and see the page reaction. There is a notice now, so I can click and go and see the reaction. So I have better understanding how application works in very deep things. What's the outcome of the code execution? It feels more like I see it with my eyes how it works, not just imagine or know how it works by looking at the code and the outputs separately. Here's how I do code review and merge branches. I keep changelog to the right. I see all the changed files. I click it, see the div on the top, and I still have all the code to navigate, browse, and edit if needed. So while still keep focus on changes, I go through the rest of the code without losing the focus. Can go and check, even get some ideas uh, without worrying to lose the focus and without worrying to overlooking things. Doing research and reports is very handy. I have a big report I need to analyze, compare data, look it up in some external tools, Google, do database lookup, use my own tools, sometimes use console like scripts. So I move Chrome tabs a lot, like collect them into one window, um, same window, different windows, have text files with the notes, but I keep the main report in front of me, and I can always pinpoint that row or cell in the spreadsheet and match it with the data, with the results on the other tools. Sometimes I just use my finger just to keep my finger pointing to some bit of information and looking with my eyes the other tools. So it actually feels more natural, like working with the sticky notes and the board when I do things like this. So a couple of things I can do better with this stuff. Keep focused on several things at once. You might think it will blow your mind, but I'm fine for after all these years. I can effectively correlate data and especially compare visual information side by side. And I have better feeling on my application, just better understand how it works. But you may ask, what's about the fifth monitor? Here it is. As I said before, it has several virtual modes. So one is communications. When I code and email arrives on the left, I always have email opened. I just look left, have a quick look at it, and read subject, and it just takes 1 second, and I just keep typing. I don't even stop for a moment, so I know immediately if I should go and read that email, or I can just keep going and read it like in a few minutes. But in any case, I never stop. I just finish my thing first. I just can do the next thing or switch to the email and check it. And same for the messenger. Most of the time, people write things like "Hello, do you have a moment?" So I see those messages and I just ignore that. I just keep typing for the next 2 minutes, and I know I will not forget about that chat because it's in front of me, and I will not forget it somewhere minimized or under the other window. And sometimes I just keep coding and read chat, and I read and keep coding and read until actually I see that person is waiting for my reply. And so many times I get situations like, after like several minutes, it ends like, oh, never mind, I just figured it out, sorry, and yeah, problem sorted, and I just close this window. So the point is, it's here, and there is no way I overlook it. And another purpose of the side monitor is to use it for remote live servers and only. So the left monitor is the only monitor allowed to work with live servers, Linux shell or database. And there is no chance I confuse it with development or test server or database. And since usually it's about checking logs and do some simple stuff and having like script results, outputs, portrait mode works perfectly for this. So to summarize, working with multiple displays, it's going to be a mess without some rules, or better say habits. So here are some habits I have. Keep communications on the left, never close or minimize chat windows until conversation finished. Have inbox open and just read subject and don't try to reply immediately. The only place to work with live server is this left side monitor, so I don't confuse it. Development server always on top front only, and specific tools always on the same places. Can evolve and migrate sometimes, but it should be more or less stable. And yeah, I think that's it. And the first question usually people ask me is, what about the eyes and neck? Does it hurt? And how it all works? And well, it works. I work like this for years and usually spending like 10 hours in front of the computer, and I still don't need glasses, and more or less I'm fine. But there are several things you need to take care of. And first of all, it's amount of light hitting your eyes. It should be as much constant as possible. For example, don't use dark styles for the applications, because most of the pages on the internet are light, white and bright, and you have light in the room. So when you move your eyes and the amount of light changes, your eyes need to work, and you don't want your eyes to do this kind of work all day, all the time, like for 10 hours or 6 hours, whatever. So just keep everything light. This is very good for eyes. There are several research that tells that light and bright text, white text and black letters is good for eyes, and the opposite is bad for eyes. This is like known fact, and you can find it on the internet if you want. So another thing is using good monitors with a good matrix. It should be IPS or better matrix, and use as small screens as possible just to save your neck movements. Don't use TN matrix and plasma TV. It really it's not good for the eyes. You can't keep it too far because you need to read text, but if you keep it close, it hurts for your eyes. And have a lot of light in the room, so the amount of light is the constant. And use TFT Central to tune your monitors so it outputs good colors and correct brightness. And just use TFT Central profiles, or manually just use the settings, tune the settings. So that's all I wanted to show you for now, and I will be glad to discuss anything and answer any questions. Bye.